Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty. Hello.
Oh my god. That is rummy. Oh my god. That's way too much rum. Jesus Christ. So I gotta make a fucking drink. All right, we're here, everybody, with James Crowley this week. He's a writer for Newsweek. He's a stand-up comedian and good buddy of Andrew and I's. Pre-context of this podcast, Andrew just decided to poison me with a terrible-tasting pina colada, which he personally put way too much rum into, and I spilt all over his mattress. Ready? Go.
All right, we'll let
him in.
I'm gonna get
He's
more.
waited long enough.
I'll get more pina colada later, so yours will be sweeter.
Jimmy,
what's up, buddy?
Hey guys.
How you doing?
Hey.
Good,
Hey,
good. How are
baby.
you guys? Can you
Bad.
guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Andrew just tried to poison me.
All right.
He handed me a pina colada, which was 98% rum and then a little bit of pina.
Well, that's like fun. I don't know. I'd kill for that right now.
Well, you're a dirty alcoholic.
Look, we're drinking. Hey, let's cheers, guys. We're drinking from Crystal here.
Yeah, you have Crystal. That's
I have
fancy.
water, so cheers.
Yeah.
Dude, we had such a fun podcast. I remember when I came to your house, we got drunk and we talked music on your infinite playlist. That was so fun.
Yeah, I don't think we got drunk. I think we had a beer.
Well, I was drunk.
That was a good time. It was a lot of fun. Also, Sean, I want to start by apologizing for what I did to your Tinder.
Oh, that's right. Okay, we should bring this up now. This is a good debate about his journalism ethics. His ethics
it's not.
are highly in question right now. Highly questionable ethics by a journalist named James Peter Crowley. Was that right? Is there
Yep.
a P? I
That's
was?
it.
I don't know. I'm
No, but there is a P in there.
I was a P. James.
Patrick?
Maybe.
Patricia?
Patterson.
James Patterson Crowley. That was
James
I
Patterson.
wish.
James
All right.
Pablo Crowley.
So would you like to set... Yeah, you can set the scene. I'll jump in.
Okay, so we were helping our friend Erin McLaughlin move into her new apartment. And we finished moving the stuff and just kind of we're chilling for a little bit and we got to talking about Tinder profiles. And Sean said, "Oh, I have a great Tinder profile." And he's showing the profile to me, my girlfriend, just kind of like, here are my pictures, and I've been in a relationship now for like a little over a year. So I've been off the dating apps. So there was a sense that I was just kind of like, oh, I'm going to swipe through. But also I had access to Sean's Tinder profile. So I went to the bottom and I put, Sean is looking for a good pegging.
Nice.
And I just did not notice for a week. Just had no clue. Didn't double check until I went on TikTok one day and saw James's TikTok.
Well, so we were sitting next to each other when I did that, and I thought you were looking as I typed it and just kind of like letting it.
Sean saw it. He just
No, I did not.
He secretly
I
wanted a pegging. He just didn't want to ask for it.
I genuinely did not notice.
And then we swiped for a little bit, and it was just kind of like whatever. And then, we just never acknowledged it. So I was like, all right, well, I guess this is gonna stay until Sean checks Tinder his next time. And then I made that TikTok because I was like, I actually don't know if he saw it or not.
James, how do you have you gotten pegged before?
Yes.
How many times?
I couldn't tell you.
How many partners?
Two partners.
Okay. I'm thinking about having my girlfriend wants to peg me and I'm into it.
I say give it a try. Be careful, but you never know unless you try it.
I've done a lot of butt play. I'm not new to butt play. Like I've been sticking things up my ass since I'm 15.
This is what happens every time. Andrew always wants to make our podcast about his butt, like every single episode.
Yeah.
We had taxes on last week. He's like, how many taxes can I fit up my butt?
Yeah.
I mean, have you guys had like a sex worker on? Because I think that would be a good Knowledge Daddies episode.
Yeah.
Actually, probably would be a good episode for us to have on.
I'd like that. Well, I want to do a whole episode on Shibari.
Oh yeah, exactly.
See, exactly.
Yeah,
These guys are fighting me
too big-
tooth and nail.
Yeah, these the two biggest sexual deviants I know are into shibari. Weird.
I mean, I haven't explored shibari proper. You know,
Dude, I
but I
went
know
to-
what it is.
I went to this thing. There's called Harlem Rope Share. I found it on FetLife. For those of you who don't know, FetLife is like Facebook for fetishists.
Yeah, we're supposed to talk about journalism.
We'll talk about journalism. We'll get there.
Before we get to journalism, can I put in a request that you guys just don't put the name of my company with the way this episode has gone?
All right. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We'll cut out your name.
All right.
Cut the name.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I was so prepared, and then it just took this crazy turn.
Can we say it and not in the title or the description, but like in conversation?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's fine.
Newsweek. Okay, back to pegging. So, yeah, I went to this thing called Harlem Rope Share, where they have this German guy has like a big old apartment with all these like suspension rigs, and people just meet up there, and they have. It was very nice, you know. You go around in a circle, be like, "What's your pronoun?" Tell you something about interesting about yourself, and then everyone, like, if you want to get tied up or if you're new, they show you how, and it was very cool. It was like very nerdy.
It sounds very. What I found the most about like talking to kinky people and people that are like super involved in the kink community, they're very education oriented and very like nerdy, like you said, where a lot of them just want to learn and share knowledge. There's a lot of great people on TikTok that just share information about.
There's also like weird, abusive-y, like manipulative people, but it's like either or, you know, it's like either really social justice-y or like scientists or yeah, creeps.
Yeah, I think that.
What is that description?
I think that the people that like are good people that you would want to be connected to in those scenes, though, are generally all very good people. Like they're usually kind of nerdy and dorky.
Yeah, I agree. I like it. I like the vibe. The vibe was really positive when I went. But it was, and yeah, and it's cool. Like, I'm dating someone now who's into that stuff, and she's not a veteran of it or by any means, but she's like, you know, she's bisexual and she's like open to trying stuff out, and I like it. So you're a journalist.
This would have been a perfect conversation if I was a sex reporter, which like I kind of wish I was.
You could be. I believe in
You're
you.
basically a gossip columnist.
I mean, I'd like to think I'm a little bit more than a gossip columnist. But
Crowley, I was reading. You ever read that book Sapiens?
no, I've heard so many good things.
I'm reading it right now, and it's basically a history of humankind, and they're basically saying like the reason why we developed language and developed our cognitive skills as a species is to gossip. Like, that is literally the purpose. And journalism is like you're a professional gossiper, whether or not it's high, like good journalism or not. I mean, obviously there's gossip that is positive and like fundamental to a democracy and to progress, and there's also gossip that's just like her tits are fake.
No, and I can kind of see the metaphor that you're drawing. You know, no one would like refer to it as gossip when someone's like, oh, you know, a White House staffer reported this or told, you know, the New York Times this, but it's not. But in a sense, it kind of is.
Yeah, it's just a refined, elevated form of gossip.
Right. You know, and that gossip might be, you know, oh, you know, the senator from Wisconsin does support this bill, but
Yeah.
So how did you get into journalism?
when I was 13 years old, I saw the movie Almost Famous for the first time.
I love
and it kind of changed my life in the sense that I was 13 and I wanted to be a musician. I really did. I played guitar, I sang a little bit, but I wasn't extremely good at either of those things. So I just kind of started, I realized, oh, there's a way you can be involved in the music world without really needing to.
So you basically said, I am not a golden god. That's what you basically said.
I mean, well, it's funny. There's a Marilyn Manson quote, which
Oof, problematic on your part.
this was before he was controversial, but he said that.
I'm doing some serious gotcha journalism.
Can you
right now.
please like make this a little more PC and quote Charles Manson?
Okay, so Charles Manson, no, but he said some people become, some people just want to get close to musicians, so they become record industry people or they become journalists. He also said some people become drug dealers for that reason. But, I was very much so someone that I was like, I want to be close to music. I want to be involved in forming narratives around different artists. But I couldn't necessarily be the artist that was forming the narrative.
Excuse me, James. I just need a second. Sean, do you mind taking like a couple sips of that so I could put in some more?
Yeah, no, this thing is all right. This thing is legit toxic. This pina colada you fucking made me. I've been taking like little pinky, and like it's like it is like how much you put in this thing?
Too much. But listen, I made Oscars with none because he's sober. And then I poured 2. I tried to make them equal. One of them looked like it was slightly like.
Here, let me pour some into your glass so you can at least taste.
No,
how...
it's too hard. You're gonna make a mess.
No, I'm not gonna make a
Just
mess.
take a sip.
No,
You
why
be
don't
a
you
bit.
just-
Don't,
it's bad.
Just do it.
It's bad.
Just drink.
You don't want to be proven how bad this is. That's what it is.
I know it's bad, but I'm
So
just
let me pour-
saying.
so you should
Just
have to-
have a sip,
you
or I'll
should have
pour
to
some
sub.
out. I'll pour some out.
Well, don't
in the
waste it.
sink.
No, you should have to drink some.
I don't want to because it's gonna make a mess. I don't want to pour it. This is
All
where I
right, fine.
sleep.
Yeah. All right, James, you haven't been to his apartment. It's a fucking dump.
Beautiful. You're jealous. You live at
It
home.
is so tiny. He sleeps on the floor like an animal. There's dog poop everywhere. Like, he doesn't even have a dog. It might as well be.
Phantom
All right.
turds.
Oscar, do me a favor. Keep your eye on him so he doesn't pour more rum into it. Because I can see him. He could totally be doing that move. I know Andrew too.
Just
well.
be trying to get rid of all the rum.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get a little more back into your actual journalism career. So, you went to SUNY New Paltz, obviously.
Oh,
You
wow.
got a degree in journalism, yeah?
Got a degree in English.
English, that's
because by the time I got to SUNY New Paltz, I realized, at first I didn't know what I was going to major in. I thought about doing journalism. I thought about doing PR. But I thought that by that point, I realized I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily want to be a journalist, but I knew I wanted to be a writer. So I figured, I'm going to get an English degree because it's vague and generalized enough that I could kind of do whatever I want with it.
So did I.
Yeah. When did you go to New Paltz? I also went to New Paltz. That's where I met Andrew.
Oh, I was class of 2016, and Steiner, you were class of
Class of
2094.
2012.
So, Oscar, when were you?
I was originally 2013, and then I was 2014.
Okay, so we may have crossed paths at some point.
It's possible, yeah.
All right. James Crowley is also a blackout drunk, so you guys probably definitely met.
Oh yeah. All right, yeah. We probably hung out then.
You guys had a whole storied friendship that you just don't remember.
Yeah, you just don't
We
remember.
would see each other at the bar all the time.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Oscar now works as a podcast recorder, and literally the first time I remember like being like, "Oh, Oscar's a good guy," is when you recorded that concert that my band played. You just like held the recorder and stood outside. Do you remember that?
No.
All right. Anyway, back to you.
So, all right, you got your English degree, you come out of college. What's the first job out of college?
Do you want to talk my first journalism job or my first real job?
Let's do both. Yeah,
My first real job out of college, I went back to the place I'd been working every summer, which was a country club, where they promoted me up to a management position, and they were like, "Oh, you can be in charge of 12 college kids to make sure they can deliver food." So, I mean, I was doing that, but I was also, I'd also been writing album reviews for a tiny blog that doesn't exist anymore, called Sensations Press, which I'd started doing in college.
See, that sounds like a sexual reporting company.
It kind of does. I should hit up some of the. I should hit up the co-founders and be like, "Do you guys want to bring this back?"
Right. Do you still have the copyrights?
Yeah, that's the plug for New Sensations, the porn website.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But they were kind of like, I don't know if any of you guys would be familiar with Property of Zach.
Property of Zach?
Property of Zach, no idea. Please tell us.
Property of Zach was like, they were a music blog from, I want to say, like the early 2010s up until maybe 2015. So very, very short lived. But they covered all sorts of like pop punk and emo, and they had some clout where, like, when Fall Out Boy was reuniting, they were the first people that wrote about it.
Let me ask.
So I just,
You're a big emo fan, right?
yes.
Now, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's your podcast. You
Andrew,
could do whatever you want.
Jesus Christ.
Do you think Emo Phillips named himself after the music?
I don't, because I think Emo Phillips started in the 80s. And like emo music also started in the 80s, but wasn't like the same.
But he kind of had the same look.
Yeah, I think there might have been some correlation. I remember when I was first getting into emo music, my mom would say to me like, "Oh, like the comedian," and I'm like, "No, this isn't comedy, Mom. This is serious.
This is who I am, Mom.
It's not
All
a
right.
phase."
Not a
And it
phase.
wasn't a phase.
All right.
I can totally see you screaming at Mrs. Crowley though. It's not phase, Mom. I've met his parents. They're both lovely people.
The glove box.
The what?
I'm sorry. I was trying to.
See, we just did a prior.
wow.
We just did a
This
prior
is really
podcast
hitting you.
Breaking down, Andrew has this insane desire to always be the center of attention, so he hogs our podcast. He does. He dominates. He never lets us get a word in edgewise.
Isn't that the nature of us all being comedians, though?
Yeah, but some of us know how to defer when you're in a group scenario. Like we're a unit. We let each one of us talk a little bit for our guest.
Listen, I've
Had a therapist on this show where you guys.
What if we did
It's-
that?
yeah.
I've said that before.
I mean, my girlfriend's roommate is a therapist.
not like a real one.
I mean, we could have my therapist on.
No, I don't want your therapist.
He's great. He's a really good guy.
Clearly not. He's not doing a good enough job on you.
That's so rude. I'm healing. Can you see me healing, James?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you wrote for Atwood for a long. You're still writing for Atwood, right?
Not really as much. Every now and then if I have an idea or something. But when I was still working the food service job, I started my own blog called Burger a Day, which was just kind of where I could write about whatever I wanted. URL still exists. I don't really post on there ever.
Burger Day. I like
Burger
that.
a Day. You used to have a podcast called
Burger.
Burger a Day.
Yep, Burger a Day. Because my thought was like, oh, I'm gonna turn Burger a Day into like the Ringer, which did not succeed.
Well, you succeeded by not hiring black people. Also,
Wow.
that's a shot at the Ringer,
I
not
mean, he
James.
didn't hire anybody, so.
Yeah,
Is this-
that's a bad joke. We can cut that.
Exactly. I never paid anyone. But yeah, so I had that, and then I started. Atwood Magazine was putting out a call for writers, so I applied for that, and I started writing for them. As I was still working at the country club and still kind of, BSing around, trying to find a new job, trying to get hired as a writer and trying to freelance more. And Atwood has given me so many opportunities, both in like reviewing albums, concerts and stuff. I've gotten into things for free because of Atwood.
Where-
I've gotten to...
What was the first time you got into something with like a press pass, and how did that feel?
First time I got into something was actually, I don't even know if I'm sure they're still around, but Vivo, remember when Vivo was like posting all the music videos? They were having like a big summer event, like party thing, where it was private. It was meant for Vivo employees. But I guess that the Atwood editor had a contact at Vivo that said, hey, we're doing this party. Run the Jewels is playing. Do you want to go? And he was like, hey, I got an invite. Does anyone want it? So I was like, oh, hey, I love Run the Jewels. I would love to do this. I don't even know if it was necessarily anticipated that I would write about it as much as it was just like a networking event, because it wasn't a Run the Jewels concert. And like it had like an open bar, past hors d'oeuvres, like unlike any concert you would ever like think to go to. So that was kind of the first one, and I took massive advantage of the open bar.
Oh, yeah.
That's a common theme in most of your stories.
There usually are open bars.
Yeah, you
It's
can advantage
usually-
of a bar patron is really what it is.
It's usually I spent too much money at a bar.
So James, I want to jump ahead. How did you transition to like being a full-time guy? Like, and how did that feel to like finally be like, okay, I mean, on some level, I've made it.
Well, so after I kind of left my food service job, I was temping with the New York Times in HR. I wasn't, writing for them, but I was in their newsroom and I was kind of like talking to people. And I think that just having them on my resume, even if it was a temp position, helped boost it a lot. So then I applied for a fellowship with my current company. And a fellowship is basically just like a glorified internship.
Jewsbeak?
Yes. The Bird magazine.
The Jewish, or what do they call it? Orniculture? What do they call it?
Ornithology.
No, but that's studying birds. I'm talking about people who are like bird watchers.
Ornithologists.
Ornithology?
Ornithologists.
No, that's a study.
Are they just
No, I
bird
think,
watchers?
Yeah, I think you're just a bird watcher.
No, there's a word.
Well,
No.
I mean, you watch, you study.
Like,
I think if you're a bird watcher, you're just a bird watcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna look this up.
No, you don't need
You
to
could
look.
say
gotta go to the
avian
bathroom.
viewer.
Indian viewer. I'm a winged animal pervert.
Winged animal pervert.
Yeah, that's about right.
All right, I gotta go to the bathroom. You guys,
But-
can
All
you
right.
guys
Yeah,
I can take
easily
over
do
for
this.
me.
I
Yeah.
did most of the podcast already.
All right, good job.
Yeah. So speaking of birds, one thing I did hear
It's a good segue.
is that you wrote an article that sort of got some heat from the bird community, or a specific bird
Well,
community.
the birds aren't a real community.
Not so much the birds. Yeah, the birds aren't real community. They kind of do their whole thing as all tongue in cheek.
James, look out behind you! They're about to kill you. I was scared of it.
I'm like scared that there's gonna,
Yes.
I don't know who controls the birds, but so basically the premise of the birds aren't real community is they believe that all birds were systemically killed between 1959 and 2001 and replaced with surveillance drones. And they have a lot of other things that are part of that belief, but that's kind of the crux of their belief system. And I was interested because they kind of seem like a comedy movement, because the way they share their message is very humorously. And then when I interviewed them, the guy was like, no, it's all real. I swear to God, it's all real.
So how do you track down someone who's like starting this movement? Like, where do you even begin? I guess is it on Reddit, or where do you find this?
They're on TikTok. They're on all social media. And I just sent an email through their website.
All right, I'm gonna pause for just a moment as we're about to get me too'd by fucking Andrew Steiner.
What are you talking about?
You're literally pulling a Harvey Weinstein / who was the guy on 60 Minutes Forever. He goes. Charlie Rose excuses himself to go to the bathroom. Puts on nothing but a bathrobe and is about to expose himself.
I'm not
to
gonna
two
do
young
that.
people he wants to sexually
I
assault.
would never do that to you guys, and I don't want to sexually assault either. of you.
Why did you? You didn't say no one was the fucked up part.
What?
You didn't say you didn't want to sexually assault no one.
No, you said two people you want to sexually assault, so I responded to that.
I don't know. That seems pretty problematic on your part. Either way, why'd you come out in a bathrobe?
Just wanted to get more comfortable because I feel comfortable with James, and I wanted to show James this. What do you think about this?
I can't really see it. It's funny. I know what it is, but I don't know like what the shape is. I don't know. Is that for a strap on? Is that a vibrator? Is it a?
It's got a suction cup and it's for a strap on. I think it could work.
So birds aren't real.
Yeah, we can go back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else but that?
Yeah. Wait. So you emailed people through the website?
I emailed through their website and they put me in touch with their leader, a guy named Peter McIndoe. And he sent me an email saying something, as to whether or not our project is real. Well, that's exactly the type of question that a post-truth era comedy project like ours would thrive in. And I was like, okay, cool. He called it a comedy project. So when I interviewed him, he said it wasn't. He said, oh, no, that was a typing error. He said autocorrect does that whenever I try to say real true movement. And then, but when I would ask him, like, well, what do you think your movement says about something like QAnon or, Pizzagate or these harmful conspiracy theories? He says, well, if we were a parody movement, this is what I think we would say, but we're not, so it doesn't matter.
So he's a comedy movement.
No, it's a real movement. Like, pay attention to what the guy's been saying.
I mean, they've been coming against me. I don't even know anymore. I'm hard pressed to take a stance, but
So yeah, you're a little bit like Woodward and Bernstein on this, right? Like just a true undercover journalism. Your life's constantly being threatened.
Is there a reason why you're wearing a yellow?
my Pentagon papers.
You're wearing a yellow T-shirt. Is that symbolic of anything?
No. I thought about wearing one with a bird, and the birds aren't real people. They very kindly sent me a bunch of stickers.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So
That's nice.
they're happy to try to educate me as much as they can.
So how do we know you're not in on it with these people to make sure birds aren't real? Like you're a false flag operation.
Well, they were supposed to have a seminar where they talked about the movement, and someone had invited me. Someone said, hey, come to our seminar. And then someone else reached out and said, I understand that you were invited to our seminar. We can't let you in because we don't want the press leaking information.
Okay.
That's interesting because don't they have a website where they're trying to educate people? So do they want to educate people or they don't want to educate people?
I mean, they do, but I don't know. Well, it seems like they've sent me everything that they've released about Poultrygate recently, before
what's
they put it
Poultrygate?
out.
That's the what I'm talking about.
Oh.
So what are the talking points of this movement besides the birds aren't real? Is there anything else?
You know how birds rest on power lines?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say that that's how they recharge.
Oh.
I mean that makes sense
That doesn't make any
Um,
sense.
You ever see bird poop on your car?
all the time.
Yeah.
That's not poop. That's a liquid tracking device.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't like this.
And they do believe that there are a few living birds kept away from the public.
All right.
Oh,
So back when
okay.
you were a real journalist, like a year ago, you were actually doing real interviews with really top-notch comedians, right? You, Mark Maron,
Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer, somebody else big. I can't. Tom Segura. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's the process of interviewing guys you look up to?
So it's incredibly weird to interview people that you look up to, just because they're all people that I'm such a big fan of. So, there is an aspect of it where, you sit and you listen to like WTF or Bert Kreischer's podcast or, your mom's house or something. And you sit and listen and you're like, well, I just kind of want to hang out and talk to, Maron or, Birbiglia or whoever you're sitting and interviewing. But that's not what they're there to do. That's not what I was there to do. So there is kind of a process of having to set aside your own personal kind of heroism, but also be able to think about what they do critically and try to come up with interesting questions that you don't necessarily think they're going to answer in other places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, is
Well-
it true you broke all journalism ethics by accepting a bribe from Bert Kreischer?
No.
With free tickets to one of his concerts.
He didn't give me free tickets. I was interviewing Bert, and at the end of the interview, I just said to him, I was like, oh, hey, Bert, thanks so much for talking. This was really cool. By the way, I want to mention I am a fan and I have tickets to see you when you come to New York. And then he just said, come backstage and have a beer with me.
That's so cool.
Nice.
Very nice, very personable guy,
I met him. I met him once after a show, and he was not. I think he was just depressed because it was like right before he started really selling tickets, and it was at Gotham, and it was like a third full, and I think his wife was there, and I was like, man, you're a big inspiration, and he was like, oh, thanks, man.
Well, that's not the way he treated Jimmy and I. He was very personable and nice.
I know.
He
I think he was
very
having a
kind.
bad. He was having a bad night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Were there any questions that you asked, like Tom or Bert, specifically that you thought were interesting? Their answers were interesting that didn't get included in the article.
A big one for Bert, and I've seen him tell this story in other places, is I forget what I said, and it might have even been like a conversational aside where I said, you know, you take a lot of joy and laugh in, you know, when you're on stage. It seems like you have a lot of fun writing your jokes and stuff. And I said, and I love people like Rogan and Bill Burr, but they don't necessarily always strike me as having fun when they're on stage. You know, they're much more serious. And, you know, he said, those guys are so much more, those guys are so funny without even trying. And he told me like a Bill Burr story that was incredibly funny. He went on to tell it on, I think, Fighter and the Kid.
Well, that podcast has been canceled, so you can tell
No,
us.
it's not. They replaced Brian with some young people of color.
Well, they should have. Whatever. Tell us on this.
Well, so basically the story was, I think I'm going to see if I have the transcript. This is like my favorite Bill Burr story. This defines his sense of humor versus mine. We're driving down the street one day and I see an old conversion van and I go, whatever happened to those? Those were cool as shit, right, Bill? Thinking Bill has a show, F is for family. I'm going to connect with the nostalgia of Bill, the way things used to be in the background. We're going to start a conversation. Maybe one of us will write a bit out of it. Whatever happened to those, Bill? Those were the coolest, weren't they? He goes, it's a branding issue, Bert. You rape a couple of kids in a van and all of a sudden no one can drive vans anymore. Same thing happened with rollerblades. They were fun for a summer, then a couple of gay guys wore them, now no one can wear rollerblades. He didn't even fucking laugh.
Those sound about right.
Which, like, very funny Bill Burr story, you know, and I wanted to include it so badly, but I couldn't say, as much as it would have been, like, fun, it wouldn't have worked for the piece.
So James, what I want to know is you're working for a great paper. What do you look forward to? What keeps you going? What makes you excited for the future?
It's a bad question because he hates his job.
Well, I'm not saying for that job necessarily. I'm just saying in journalism, in writing, in general.
I think, I don't know, you know, I think part of it is just the fact that I know kind of in the future I can interview more and more people that I look up to and people whose work I admire, and just kind of knowing that the further along I go, the more interesting stuff I can do, and like the bigger opportunities and stuff. Earlier this year, I got to interview Rebecca Black, which, you know...
Is that Friday?
Yeah, it was the 10-year anniversary of Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Friday.
Which, like, that's something... Which, like, that's something for me incredibly fun, because that girl was a meme. She was a laughing stock, you know, for a long time, and she kind of made her peace with that song, but, you know, has never really gotten the critical respect she's deserved. And now it feels like that narrative is shifting, where people are appreciating how, like, goofy and fun Friday was, and she's doing new music that's a little bit more, like, critically acclaimed.
Yeah.
Pegging.
What would be my first single?
So obviously you've talked about that. Is there any truly standout moment you've had when interviewing someone you're like, holy shit, I can't believe I get to do this?
Rebecca Black was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, I mean, pretty much most of the comics that I've gotten to interview, you know, whether it's Marin or, you know, Jessica Kirson or, you know, Michelle Wolf, those were all kind of like really like wow moments. I think the big one for me, though, was I got to interview Dan Campbell from the Wonder Years about 2 or 3 years ago. And that is, like, you know, that's my favorite band. So that for me was like, oh, this is incredible.
I was about to ask you, who does he play on the show?
No, not.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah.
No one gets that really old reference.
Yeah.
The old man.
I almost want to interview someone from the show The Wonder Years, though, and then just act like I think they're in the band.
I want to see like a redubbing of the show where all the music from the show is replaced by the Wonder Years band.
Just pop punk stuff.
Honestly, I don't even know what the Wonder Years sounds like, so I don't know.
It's not great.
Yeah. Anyway, Crowley, I want to know a couple more things. Well, lastly, love, one more thing. Last thing. Have you?
Sire, if you have sex questions and pegging questions, you can text me. I'll answer them.
That's all we. Yeah,
No, it's not a sex. It's not a sex question. Okay.
it's a little bit of a sex question. See, we brought up earlier how he has this constant need to be the center of attention, as I mentioned earlier. But now he's self-conscious about it, as I called it out again.
No, listen. I'm doing better. I'm not making certain types of jokes anymore. I'm not saying certain words that begin with the letter R. I'm doing better. I'm doing good.
Just ask your question. Jesus Christ. You take these fucking 5-minute diatribes.
Was that the question? Doing good?
Am I doing good, Jay?
You are doing good. I'm having a good
As somebody who interviews people, who's done a better job of interviewing you during this podcast, me or Andrew? Or Oscar?
Don't say Sean because he's got a fragile ego.
It was probably
No,
Sean.
Right? I feel like I asked more interesting and intriguing questions.
I think Sean, just in the sense that Sean, you've kind of kept more on track. Like if this was a print interview and I had to, and you were given like 30 minutes.
But it's not a print interview, my friend. This is a podcast. This is going on YouTube. It has to be visually
Actually, I don't
entertaining.
think we can put it on YouTube. I don't think you're allowed to show a sex toy on YouTube.
Yes, you are. There do dildo reviews on YouTube. What are you talking about?
Well, we're going to get demonetized.
We don't have any monetization.
You're just going to get no one under 18 is going to be able to watch.
No one under 18 does watch, so we're
Good.
okay.
That's fine.
So, all right, guys, let's talk about where you're going in the future because, you and I have been friends. You've been talking. You have been, hope this is okay to reveal, you've been considering leaving Newsweek or hoping to get fired by them.
Hoping to get fired.
Over the severance. Let go. Whatever.
You got to pitch an article about strap-ons.
Let's say tomorrow you get tomorrow you're just going to start a brand new job, one that you want. Like what is you want to be doing if you're not doing?
Yeah,
work
what
meetings?
is you want to be doing?
Well, maybe if you didn't pour rum that fucking strong, I'd be able to formulate a sentence.
As journalists, what is you want to be doing?
To be honest, I think what would be best as like a journalist would be. This is gonna sound so dumb because it's going from the polar opposite of where I am now to like what I think it would be really cool to work for like Barstool just because they kind of do everything. They have their different news segments, they talk about current events, but they can kind of do it in whatever way they want, and you can kind of cover whatever weird shit you want to cover at Barstool, it seems like.
Yeah, it does seem like that is a job I'd also like, just being able to be funny and do sports and pop media and because especially a fraternity house there. Like,
and
college.
to be able to like do videos and podcasts and stuff, just because I feel like I'd like to do something with a company that's very interested in like the multimedia asset of journalism.
Yes, you would.
Well, I feel like it's more laid back.
Yeah.
Same thing with like The Ringer, too,
Yeah.
where they have so much, so many different things.
Yeah.
Absolutely. James, this has been the interview of the century. You have been welcomed with open arms and open legs to this podcast. How do you feel leaving now? Do you feel energized?
I am. I'm stoked. I wish I was drinking while I was doing this.
All right, I guess that brings me to my final question. Want to get drinks this weekend?
I'm in Staten Island this weekend. But
Fucking break up with this fucking girl, okay? People, I remember, break a little fourth wall. We were hanging out all the fucking time.
Sean, you need
Every
a
week.
girlfriend.
No,
so you can go on a double date with James.
That would be how it would work, wouldn't it? But like, that's the bullshit. He refuses to break up with his girlfriend. I have to go get one. That's so much harder. You could easily just be alone like me.
No, it's not. Just put the pegging back in your
I'm
profile.
not getting pegged. I'm not that guy.
Man, you don't know until you try it.
No, I did. You posted a FetLife test of like what your kinks are. It turns out I'm very much a dom. Like I answered 100% serious, and they're like, "Oh, you and Army Hammer.
Pegging doesn't
on
have to
top
be
of-
submissive
How would it not be submissive? It's pegging.
if you're on top.
How would you be? Okay, I don't even know how that would work.
Have you ever had a girl on top of you, Sean?
Well, yes, obviously, but how would it work for me on top?
Same way.
I'd
Same
crush it.
way.
I'd crush her to
No,
death.
you gotta squat. You use your squatting muscle.
I mean, I would.
Yeah.
That sounds.
Have
cool.
you never been on top of a girl, Sean?
Yes, I'm on top of a girl, and she's dead now.
She's a paraplegic.
Yeah, I crushed her windpipe.
All right. Well,
But Sean, I'm game for drinks next weekend if you are.
I think I'm out of town next weekend.
Oh my god.
This is the problem. We used to be able
Just
to get
stay in
drinks.
town, Sean.
Well, no. See, I have things. You do this all the time when I bring up getting drinks. I do this, every now and then. Whatever. Let's move on.
okay. Well,
End
bye.
the
no, James. Plug your shit, man.
You can find me on all my socials are James P. Crowley except Twitter. That's James P. Crowley 68. And listen to James Crowley's Infinite Playlist. Comics, writers, musicians talking about music, trying to be funny. So most of the time it's just like criticism.
You also have a lot of good stuff on TikTok, so check that out too.
Yes, James P. Crowley on TikTok. Lots of music jokes, pegging jokes.
Oh man, this was a lot of fun as always. I love having you
It
on.
was. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you.
All right, we'll get drinks in
Nice
like a
meeting you
month.
too, Oscar.
All right.
Sounds good.
Bye, James.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, James.
Okay, we're back.
Well, that was great, right, Sean?
Yeah, I had fun.
That was interesting. Yeah,
Did you enjoy that, Oscar?
I did enjoy it.
Yeah, we'll cut out all the pegging parts, but that was
No,
pretty good.
I'm editing this one.
I know. I don't know why we let you edit it because you're always keeping the parts I cut.
Well, I'm gonna make it less boring. It's gonna be good.
It's very entertaining. We had a good
It's gonna be
conversation.
good. Why don't you turn around real quick?
Yeah.
You can see the back.
What is
Heather.
Heather?
Oh, is that the,
I thought it was
the movie?
Heathen.
No,
I don't know.
No, it's not from Heather's.
I don't
I haven't
know.
seen that
It's a
movie.
good movie.
All right. Well, everyone,
Yeah, I mean, for the
it smells.
80s.
Someone's making garlic toast. It smells delicious.
I smelled pizza earlier
Yeah,
too.
I mean,
Yeah, we gotta
we're
get
near
some
Little
food.
Italy, so.
All right,
Yeah.
this thing's about to die. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please follow, like, subscribe, share with all your friends, leave reviews on iTunes. And next episode of the table making episode of Knowledge Dice is coming in a week or two. So please subscribe to YouTube and keep your eyes out for that.
Tell your friends. All right. I think it stopped recording ahead of time.